how to deal with things going on in life. Because remember, life is an order of physical and mental experiences that makes up our existence. Now there's other definitions for life, but I thought this one here was the most appropriate for this teaching that we're doing. It is the sequence of physical and mental experiences that make up the existence of an individual. Now, in the making of that individual through our experiences on the level of physical and mental, in the process of that, we start to develop how to operate, to produce effects of actions or influence, while we are developing the capacity to accept or tolerate unpleasant things. And all of it is for the purpose of having the required or desirable qualities or characteristics as good as it could possibly be. Now, then he goes on. We already know now why we have life, why we have the things that goes on in life, whether good or bad. We know now why those things are happening to us, because it's one big lesson that God is trying to get us to learn. And we're going to go into that just a little bit deeper. Okay, then he says in verse 4, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. So now, we're still in the developing stage. We're growing in the developing stage. We're getting to a certain place for a certain reason. One of the things that I've been learning on this spiritual journey is that if God gave us all the answers, what will we learn? If God gave us all of the answers, what will we possibly learn? It's the same as when you're in school. If the teacher gave you all of the answers when you're in school, what in the world would you learn? So that's what life is. Life is teaching us, is one big lesson to teach us how to grow as an individual in the midst of a group, which is society. So in order to be able to exist in a group, which is society, you got to first know how to exist as an individual. Because if I don't know how to survive, how in the world am I going to survive in a group of good people and bad people, all mixed in together? I got to first know how to survive as an individual before I'm in a group of people. So when we are born into this world, that's when our parents or people that hold great influence over us, that's when they start to develop those things in us, teaching us how to survive in life. So that when we are, and a lot of people say, okay, well, aren't we already, as we're growing up and we go to school and everything, are we already in the midst of a group? Yes, we are in the midst of a group at that time. That's a form of society. But it's not until you're really out there on your own that you really learn people. In school, you have an idea of what people are like. You know, some people are good. Then we have what we call the mean people, the bullies. So, yeah, you get a form of it. But again, that's just to teach us how to survive when we get out into what they call the real world. Okay, Now verse 5 says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So if we are, here's where your faith comes in at. If there's anything that we in our developing process start to realize that we're lacking, we need to go to God and ask him. Because that's what verse 5 says. Ask of God that giveth. So in other words, the things that we learn in life is given to us by who? By God. The things that we learn in life is given to us by God. Now I know that some people is going to take that and go way left field on it and be like, well, God don't put bad things on us. No, God don't put bad things on us. That is true. He do not. But he does allow us to get into bad situations to teach us a good lesson. He loved Job. Job was an upright man to God. Job was righteous to God. But God allowed the enemy to put his hands on Job in a way to try to test Job to see if he would curse God. But God had faith in Job that he wouldn't. See, God has faith in us. If we start to realize that when things start to happen in our life, it's kind of like the same situation as Job. Remember, Satan had to go to God along with all the others. He went to God and he was looking for somebody that he could tempt. And God said, have you considered my servant Job? Satan didn't say, hey, let me get my hands on Job. God said, have you considered my servant Job? Because God had faith in Job that in the midst of what he was going through, he would not curse him. And I'm saying that to be an encouragement to us in life. When we're going through things in life, that's God's faith that he has in us, that we won't curse him. We won't forsake him. And so because of that, you count it all joy. That of all the people God could have chosen to allow to go through something, he chose you. Because he has faith in you. He had faith in Job that no matter what the enemy did to Job, except take his life. Now God kept that protection on Job. You can't take his life. But you can do all the other things you want to do. And God told him, say, have you considered my servant Job? Now, if Satan and God was still having a conversation today, what if he said, have you considered my servant Diane? Have you considered my servant Michael? Have you considered my servant Queen? My servant Lot? My servant Tamara? Have you considered them? That no matter what you do to them, their faith won't waver. They will not curse me. They will not forsake me. They will not turn their back on me. And that's something to have joy in. That God chose you to put his faith in. Just like we have our faith in God, God also needs to have faith in us. And God knows. When he chose Diane to go through life situations, he knows how much Diane can take. And I can tell you how I know he knows how much I can take, because at certain times He'll step in, just a soft voice in the form of the Holy Spirit, and give me a nudge. Don't give me the answer, but give me a nudge. He may do it in the form of a lesson. May say, what would happen if you did this? What would happen if you did that? And it'll be something in there that just quicken my spirit to give me the answer of which way I need to go.